Here's another exclusive from The Information. Google offers buyouts to employees in search and ads unit. Okay, why is the search and ads unit so important? Because it's the biggest portion of Google's business. That's where they make the vast majority of their money. I'm a big fan of the Google Cloud, the Google AI services that they have, Gmail, obviously, you name it, YouTube Premium, YouTube itself. These are fantastic options. YouTube Premium, a lot of these things sit in these components here. I mean, look at this. YouTube ads up over 20%. This is a fantastic business. One of the best acquisitions in the world when Google bought YouTube. Google Network, great. Ads on websites going down, no problem. Google subscriptions, platforms, and devices exploding. $10 billion divided by what we had last year of 8,739 puts us at 11.8% year over year. In just a quarter, they make over $10 billion in revenues for subscriptions. Google Cloud, another $12 billion. These are fantastic. Their total revenues at $90 billion, though, tell you something very pressing, that their search and advertising business represents 56% of their business. And while it did represent a gain from last year in search and other, it's worth paying attention to how artificial intelligence is changing the Google search game. When people are looking up encyclopedic content and they're looking for quick answers like what riots happened in 1992, a lot of people are turning to AI. In fact, so much so that Google itself now includes artificial intelligence overviews to provide an AI search result to you without you having to log into GPT or whatever, which is great. The downside is it kills your potential ad revenues for getting website search results and getting click conversion. Now, obviously there will be new potential opportunities for revenue. In fact, some people talking about getting click conversion through the actual AI results themselves if people are going to proceed to click. So there are opportunities for innovation, but the question is, will Google be the one who captures those opportunities? We don't know. So this is where this is actually very interesting. Google offers buyouts to employees in the search and ads unit. Google is offering voluntary buyouts to employees in the knowledge and information organization, which includes some of the company's core search and much of the ads organization. This is what happens. This is exactly the cycle that happens. Innovation through artificial intelligence fosters creative destruction. You create and innovate, but you destroy jobs that previously existed. That's how you end up with a permanently higher unemployment rate. And it's happening even more now at Google. This report out, by the way, 12 minutes ago from the time of me recording this. You can see right here, the clock, see? Bringing it to you as it breaks. The move comes as Google's search business faces unprecedented threats from ChatGPT and following its loss in a U.S. antitrust case that could hurt the company's ability to distribute its search project. This also, relates to Google's potential problems with maintaining Google Chrome or potentially having to sell out Google Chrome. What I always think is really funny is if you're on a Windows PC and you type into Microsoft Edge, download Chrome, there's like this big banner that pops up that's like, there's no need to download Chrome, use Microsoft Edge, and I'm like, still gonna use it. All right. Earlier this year, some of our teams introduced a voluntary exit programs with severance for US-based Googlers, and several more are now offering the program to support our important work ahead. The buyouts could be a prelude to layoffs. That's right. You don't take the buyout. We still need to get our EPS to grow. So what are we going to do? We'll just fire your bum. It's sad. In January, Google offered similar voluntary buyout members to a 20,000-person platform and devices team, which oversees Android, Chrome, and Pixel. By April, Google laid off hundreds of employees in the unit. See? Buyout to layoff. The information previously reported including 10% in its privacy sandbox division, which was supposed to help usher in a more privacy-safe version of digital advertising. Oops. Google recently already made a small number of cuts in its ads organization. At the end of May, Google laid off employees in its ads safety division, according to a person with knowledge of the matter. earlier in May, Google laid off around 200 employees in its Google Businesses organization, which handles advertising and sales from other partnerships. Google's piecemeal cuts this year differ from its approach in 2023 when it cut 12,000 employees or 6% of its staff. One of the reasons you're seeing this sort of more piecemeal cutting is because cutting while you're making big, profits and the stocks are doing decent is widely unpopular in front of juries and judges who are declaring some of the fates or outcomes of antitrust matters regarding Google. So you kind of don't want to be seen as firing people. This is why these voluntary buyouts are an interesting option, especially since if you laid people off, you'd probably give them a cushy severance anyway. And a buyout would also just be another way of you kind of self-selecting your severance, if you will. So it's like, it's going to happen either way. It's either we choose or you choose. This is sort of what it feels like. Backdoor layoffs, if you will. Oh, they're voluntary buyouts. They're not layoffs. But it does suggest some concern for part of a business that represents about 56% of their revenues, mostly because if this segment, and I don't know that it'll happen immediately, but over time, I think the writing is on the wall to where you're going to see growth in search and others start slowing and declining, especially the ad side. And after you see the Google search ad side decay, which, Google search, mind you, 50.7 divided by 66.8. Google search represents 76% of Google's advertising business. Let me say that one more time just so you remember that. Of Google's search or advertising revenue, search represents 76% of all of the dollars they earn. So, losing search as a major driver of ad revenue because advertisers are going elsewhere and they're advertising on Netflix or Disney or, to some extent, some will get picked up by YouTube or they're using influencers or whatever. That's fine. You'll get picked up somewhere else, but losing search itself is going to be met with a big negative followed by, yes, growth in other categories. But how many years does it take to basically undo the damage that's done to search? It could be 7 years of low returns until they actually return to meaningful and broader growth again. In other words, for the near term, some of Google's mega desirability could in the near term be behind it if this advertising revenue ends up leveling off. Who knows? Maybe it won't. Maybe they'll be able to pull off some kind of save here. But I do think that's a red flag, not just for Google, but also for the broader economy. Something to pay attention to. Hey, quick reminder, if you want to earn a 5% yield plus all of the upside in my real estate startup, we are offering a non-accredited investor round where we will pay you a 5% yield plus you get all of the upside in the stock when your stock converts in the future. It gives you an opportunity to diversify away from rich stock market valuations, diversify away from most tariff risk, diversify away from the craziness of the treasuries market, especially with these Moody's downgrades. You diversify into fixer-upper real estate, which is what I believe I do best. This is my baby. I call it my little Berkshire Hathaway. Now, maybe I'm biased, but I've got over $5 million of my own money invested into this business, and I'm so excited for what I think we're going to be able to do with this business over not just the next years, but the next decades. So if you want to invest in my real estate startup, go to househack.com and know that I will do everything for this business in my power to make sure we can do the absolute best that we can. Make sure to read the solicitations and disclosures on the HouseHack website because there is risk with every investment.